All right, let's move on to something a little more fun. Should we talk about Wesley Huff on Rogan? I guess we can. I kind of skipped over it. So Rogan, of course, was a big atheist guy. I guess he still is. But he used to have Sam Harris on. He used to joke about, he just used to make like typical new atheist style jokes and jokes about Christians. And he had this Christian apologist on. And the basis of this episode was this guy, Wesley Huff, this Christian apologetics guy. He had a debate with, I think his name's Billy Carson, who's a guy who had been on Rogan, who's obviously like, you take a glance at him, you take a glance at his website, and you know exactly who he is. He's like, he's basically a Hotep guy, but without the black supremacy, at least not openly. Not the open black supremacy thing. Let me see if I can find his website, because his website's really retarded. I think it's called Forbidden Knowledge with the number 4. And I believe the guy's name is Billy Carson. See if I got this right. Yeah, here we go. So it's Forbidden Knowledge with the number 4. Okay? And and the logo they have is, it's like, it says 4BK, and the B has like an Egyptian eye in it. Okay? So this guy, he was actually on, okay, right on his website, he has himself on, he has his embedded Joe Rogan episode, right? So you can just tell that this guy is really retarded. It's all, Egyptians and quantum whatever. Okay, he's selling a book on his website called Compendium of the Emerald Tablets, A Beginner's Guide. And it's got an AI image of some Egyptian bullshit. I don't know what they call that. Like, whatever, that bird with the really long beak, whatever. And like holding like a magic glowing green emerald. All right. So it's like, it's the most retarded thing you could possibly imagine. Joe Rogan had that guy on, and he talked with him for 3 hours, which I don't actually mind Joe Rogan having cranks on. I think it's better than having like, Sam Harris on, or having like Neil deGrasse Tyson on. I think their view of the world is gayer and wrong in a more insidious way. But Billy Carson, obviously a retarded guy. Rogan had on Wesley Huff, who had a debate with Billy Carson and proved that Billy Carson was retarded, and everything he said about, ancient scriptures was just made up. So then Rogan had him on to kind of talk about that for like the first hour or so. They talked about how Wesley was right about everything and Billy Carson was wrong, and Rogan kind of seemed to admit that Carson was entertaining, but he didn't really fact check anything, blah blah blah. And then they got to this part, which I thought was kind of interesting. I queued up here
to explore it. Like, talking about the Mormon church, they recently did this thing where they're like, you don't need to go on the internet, and you don't need to. And it's
don't
like,
watch
guys,
the Book of Mormon.
Yeah, guys, I don't think you realize what you're sounding like when
Right.
you come across in that way.
So then he ridicules the Mormon church here. And I'm not a Mormon, but he ridicules the Mormon church here for saying like, don't look into things or whatever, because he's like, his whole like thing on Rogan is like how deeply he's studied the history of the scriptures and how right it all is and everything. And I actually kind of hate that. I kind of hate what he said there. It was a good episode, don't get me wrong, and it was interesting in its own way. But in the end, all of this religious stuff, you either take it on faith or you don't. And, believing the wacky stories about Joseph Smith, like, it's not really that different from other kinds of religious belief. And so he can talk about, well, we know the text was written. Like if you say, oh, the Bible's a complete fraud, then someone like Wesley Huff can shut you down because he can say, well, we know that it was written at this time, and we have strong evidence that the accounts that are in there about Jesus were, told to people directly who wrote them down, and those became the gospel. He can tell you all that stuff, right? But the actual content of the Bible, did Jesus really rise from the dead? That's just a faith thing. It's pure faith. And for someone who's supposed to be a person of faith to then belittle the Mormon Church, not on theological grounds, but on like logical grounds, it's just Sam Harris all over again. It's just new atheism all over again. I don't really care about the details of the facts of the golden plates or whatever. If I read the Book of Mormon, will it change my life and make me a better person? If it did, then I would find a way to have faith in it. And if the Christian Bible did that too, then I would find a way to have faith in it. And that's how it works. And everything else is just kind of dressing around all that. And if Billy Carson were smart and weren't like a retard trying to sell his stupid books, he would have never gotten involved in the fact argument, and he would have just been Rael and said, I'm an alien and this was all revealed to me. And this is the new stuff that I just all made up and it's true. That's why Rael is better than forbidden knowledge. But they all suck. All of them suck. Don't get me wrong. But if you were going to join a cult, I'd say join Rael and don't do the forbidden knowledge thing. Not that that's a cult, because I don't think he has a way to take all your money. I think he just sells you books that cost like $25. So I guess that is better. I think Rael, you do have to like become his slave, and you have to give your wife to have sex with him or something. I don't think Billy Carson does that. So I think you just have to buy his shitty book. So maybe it's a wash which one is better. But anyway, Wesley Huff is fine. I don't like him talking shit on the Mormon church. The thing is, I have so much sympathy for Mormons. I'm in a country where the Mormons, and I don't call Mormons to their, I have so much respect for them. I call them LDS when I talk to them. And I do talk to them. So I'm in a country where the only other time I really see white people is when I see LDS guys walking around, which I see maybe once every other month. So if I see them, you know what? It was during COVID. One of them messaged me because I was in a Facebook group for expats in this country, and he was trying to do his like outreach thing, because they take these like 19-year-old kids from Utah and Idaho, and they send them to random places in the world, and they've got to do 2 years. So this random kid on Facebook who was on one of those missions, it's COVID times, he couldn't like go out like door to door or whatever and be out as much. So he DM'd me because we were in the same group, and he asked me if I wanted to hear about the joy of Mormonism or whatever. And I said, yes, let's do it. And I took him to lunch. They come in pairs. They go everywhere in pairs for safety. So it was him and another one. And I just talked to him for an hour. I just asked them my questions about Mormonism. Now, there's no danger I'm ever going to convert to Mormonism. I think I mean, look, if you look it up, it's weird and stupid and gay. Like, it's clearly not true. It's clearly just made up from by some guy. But, the kids are nice. It's not their fault. They didn't make it up. They just believe it, and it's for a lot of them, it probably is a positive thing in their lives. Also, they don't know anything. They're actually teenagers. They're literally teenagers. Are you going to argue with them? But it's just nice to, to take them out to lunch, to talk to them, to show them some basic respect. Everyone I've told that I do this looks at me like I'm an insane person. They say, like, what are you doing? Why would you do this? I remember the first time I did it, I was about to take my lunch break. Like, I normally had lunch with my coworkers. I was working like a corporate office job. And I was like, "Oh, I've got plans. I actually I'm going to meet some Mormon boys who talked to me other." And everybody's like, "What are you doing? You're taking on your lunch? Are you converting to more?" I'm like, "No, no, no. I'm. It's fun. It's fun." And then I came back and told them all about our conversations, and everybody just thought I was. They're like, "What the fuck is wrong with you?" Like, but I've probably done it like 4 times now because they keep cycling in new Mormon boys. You know, the 2 years are up and then they go. So and they in this country they're just it's easier for them to just keep handing off the same phone with the same phone number. So it keeps all the contacts in there. So a new kid will come in and he'll go through the contacts looking for leads, for converts, and he'll go to our history. I'll just get a message. It'll be like a year later. I'll get a message. It'll be like, "Hey, I heard you knew, so and so. I'm blah blah blah, and I'm the new LDS kid here, new LDS kid on the block. Do you want to talk about Jesus Christ?" And I say, "Yes, I do. I'll buy you a nice lunch." I've done that like 4 times now. It's lovely. But I did that 2 weeks ago. So then when this Wesley Huff guy is talking about how gay and stupid it is that the Mormons are like, well, don't look up the Wikipedia article that's going to make you lose your faith. I mean, what else are they supposed to say? What should they say? Like, no, but really, what are they supposed to say? Like, that's their whole thing. I mean, you either take it on faith or you don't. I mean, maybe I'm retarded. What am I even saying? I'm on cold medicine, so you can just ignore me.